Beautiful. Welcome to the studio, guys. It's lovely to have you in.
Oh, your domain.
I didn't say my studio. I nearly said my studio. I really thought about it. Welcome to my studio.
I could get used to this.
Welcome to Across the Formation. Live in studio, the three of us, the evolution of the Pokemon, live and direct. And actually, right now, the way we're sat, it's kind of like, we've got the virile young superstar, the...
Hold up, and I'm opposite that. Hold up.
I'll finish there. Let's
very harsh.
Let's not upset anyone. Gents, we had the confirmation of the international game today. The whole international slate. We're going to hear Henry Hodgson, who joined H&J today, talking about the international slate, the future of it. He talked a bit of Ad and Dirty as well. And on our new show, The S Word, which is why we didn't have a show last week. Sorry, that's my fault. We did talk about this. We talked about the Premier League doing it and how American fans feel about it and everything else. So myself and Master Tesfatsion will have that conversation. But boys, the slate. I'll run through it once more, just much more quickly than I did on the show earlier. Spent about 5 minutes on it. Rams 49ers in Melbourne.
Yep.
Ravens Cowboys at the Maracanã in week 3. And then 3 straight games in London, weeks 4, 5 and 6. October 4th, Colts Commanders at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Eagles Jaguars at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium the following week. And then Texans Jaguars at Wembley. Steelers are the opposition for the Saints in Paris. A week after that, we expected the Browns had been much touted. And then 2 weeks later, we're in Madrid for Bengals Falcons. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase coming over, Bijan Robinson again, brilliant stuff. Patriots Lions at the Bayern Munich Arena in Germany before Vikings 49ers in Mexico. Ollie, you're going to be at that game in Brazil. Unbelievable game. And most importantly, back-to-back weeks, 2 Team Sammy's going to get to watch both his teams.
Hey! Look, do you know what? I am very much guilty. I did see online today when the news dropped, and again, terrible from everyone from keeping this secret. We saw
like there are leaks, and there is like major accounts just going, do you know what? Everyone knows now. I'm just posting it.
And we kind of had a discussion about it, and it just seems that people get angry for the sake of getting angry. This is by far the best slate we've had here in so long. I mean, arguably there's 4 playoff teams. Well, 3 playoff teams.
3 playoff teams from last year, and let's be honest, a playoff team who are,
We've had some terrible games over here, and we talked about it before, but this is not one. This is not them. Like, this is a really good slate of games, and like it's one of those where I would like to, obviously, as 2 Team Harris, would love to be at 2 of them. But if you were to give me tickets to any of 3 of those,
yes,
games,
we will get you into the games.
I would love to be at them, and I think they should sell out quickly. I don't really. I think people just moan now for the sake of moaning. I'm obviously super excited about it. I think this is going to be a really, really, really good fun 3 weeks.
The way I look at it, and the games are great, but the way I look at it is we're going to get some really, really fun players, new players as well, coming to these shores, new stories. We've got the Eagles who picked up the Nigerian dude, which is so cool, isn't it? Like, we're going to get to see potentially, hopefully, that guy, Jordan Mailata, coming back to these shores as well. Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, all of those guys. But
the Eagles, while they had a down year last year, were Super Bowl champions just 2 years ago, and went to the Super Bowl 2 years before that. This is a consistently very good football team with a lot of very good players on it, going up against a Jags team who, for me, right now, did I love their draft? Did I love their off-season? No, but should they be one of the favourites in the AFC based on what they put on the field last year? Absolutely. Like, I think that's... I would be stunned if the 4 teams playing in the Jags, counting the Jags twice, if the Eagles, Jags and Texans aren't playoff teams this year, I'd be absolutely stunned.
Yeah.
Commanders, I think they had a much better off-season so far this year than they did last year. I predicted, not to pat myself on the back, I projected the downfall last season. I really thought that I just didn't like what they did. They got older, they got slower, they got... This year, Sonny Styles is going to come over. Well,
they're potentially the best player in the draft.
We didn't get Jaden Daniels in Madrid last year, which we're getting this time, hopefully, if he doesn't get cropped before week 4. If we, And the Colts, Jonathan Taylor, we sort of put up a hat-trick of touchdowns. They're going to be a competitive
Is Daniel Jones
going
to be fit by then?
That's a very good question, actually.
But either way, if he is, then brilliant. If he isn't, then we still get Jalen Daniels and Sonny Styles, which is so much fun. Seeing the best player on many consensuses, best player in the draft coming to these shores again.
I think as well, not even looking at how good the teams are, they're competitive matchups, and that's what you want to see.
That's the thing about the Colts Commanders game. Like last year, Dolphins Commanders, neither of those were great teams, but actually it was a fun game because it was a tight game. It was goal line stops. It was overtime. Sorry. It was Mass Fiesta. You'll learn about that on this show. I'm not going to spoil anything about it. It was Mass Fiesta. There are lots of reasons to be positive. I think that will be an exciting game of football.
Yeah.
Week in, week out. Games that are bad on paper deliver.
Yeah, 100%.
There are. We haven't had information about the tickets yet. We don't know what the prices are. We don't know how the situation is. And I can totally understand people who are negative about the season tickets going away. I don't disagree about that. I can see people who are negative about their ability to get tickets, about issues with Ticketmaster, who are an NFL partner. So NFL UK have to use them, but they have problems with their tickets. I do get all of that. But if you just want to dig out the NFL for bringing bad teams over, these are not bad teams. These are not bad matchups. The Jags are going to come twice. Next year, they're going to come 3 times. I really believe it's going to be once in Dublin and twice in London. That's not an insider thing. I think that's what their approach is. They're one of the Irish teams. They want to go back to Dublin next year. Those conversations are being had. So you're going to have to get used to a lot of Jags, but they're a good football team now.
Exactly.
Liam Cohen's a top 10 play caller in the NFL, and he's only been doing it for 2 years.
Liam O'Cohen.
This is the best time. Yeah, this is the best time to be watching the Jags. I mean, I've on the pod, as you've heard before, I've said that they're my sneaky Super Bowl pick this year for the AFC. Like this can't be anything but good.
We also got timings as well for all of the games, some of the games, and one of the most.
Let me double check while you say it.
One of definitely timings for the Madrid, the Brazil game in the Maracanã.
So they're all going to be standalone 9:30 Eastern games. The ones in Europe, the two games, the game in Melbourne and the game in Mexico City, are going to be primetime games, and this is the other news, the Maracanã game.
Yeah, the Maracanã game is going to be a 9:25, that late slate. 9:25 British time, late slate.
Dallas Cowboys being America's game of the week. Who knew?
Who knew?
By the way, as the schedule's been being leaked slowly but surely over the last 3 weeks, 5 games were announced before these international games. 4 of them were Cowboys games on prime time. I'm like, come on.
There we go.
Shameless.
If you've seen the Jerry Jones documentary on Netflix, and if you haven't, you have to. It's so good. But it doesn't surprise you that those games have been leaked by that organization. No surprise whatsoever. Jerry Jones does different things with the NFL because he's Dallas. But the fact that it's a 9:25 game, I just think so cool, because it means that it will be one of those big games in that smaller slot, a lot of focus on it. It will be on Red Zone, which is really cool. It will be going from all the other games that will be going on at that time, be it in Seattle or Arizona, and then suddenly you're off to the Maracanã, the home of Brazilian South American football. It's so cool. The reason I think also it's there, I think it's actually a practical one. The games that they've had in Corinthians Stadium in São Paulo was borderline dangerous, leaving at 1 a.m. 2 a.m. I remember doing a pod after the Packers-Eagles game. Eagles won, whatever. But we did a for the audio listener. Sam Harris just did the fly Eagles fly.
Lies.
But I didn't get home until 3 a.m. Brazil time, and that's not great. It is a bit in that part of that neighborhood. It's a bit sketchy, and the Maracanã is and Rio is far more condensed than São Paulo. So, and it's surrounded by favelas. Like, it's kind of like, all right, I don't want to be going home any later than I need to be. So 5:25 Brazil local time is great. You know, we'll be home by 9 o'clock, or safe and sound by 9 o'clock, and Rio with tourists and the Bop squad will be in. It will be fine. Like, it will be fine. No dramas. But I'm happy that it's not a standalone game that's late on.
Now that they've announced all the international slate, one thing that has come out from Bill Spiros on Twitter is the miles that are going to be travelled by teams this season. So obviously the West Coast teams always suffer from this. They're not even close to each other, let alone other teams. So they always have longer travel. But this is astonishing. So
it's got to be the Niners most.
So the Cowboys and Texans, who are both playing games in Europe, as are the Patriots, Dolphins, Jaguars, all are in the top 8. The Texans are travelling 28,470 air miles as the closest non-NFC West team, let's put it that way, in third. The Rams are travelling 34,847 air miles, and the 49ers are 10,000 ahead of the team in third at 38,105. This isn't a 49ers fan whinge thing, but it is amazing.
You can see why
the team who consistently... you can see why Kyle Shanahan was annoyed that they're having to play 2 international games this year.
And with their injury
and yet the UK 49ers fans are constantly angry that they're not coming over here. I don't think they'll be in London for 5, maybe even 10 more years at this point, because they're holding so much over the league at this point. They're like, you're not sending us far abroad ever again. We've done Melbourne. We did Mexico in the same year. We are not doing it until we have to give up a home game again. I'm saying that until it's the 18-game schedule and they're having to play a game abroad every season, which is definitely happening.
What's the circumference of the Earth? Anyone know?
I think it's around. So hold on. Are we doing it? So hold on. So, 100%. So it's got to be via the equator, right?
Gabs, play the sound.
So we're going via the equator. I don't know. Gabs is still in there. We're going around the equator. So here to Los Angeles is about 7,000 miles. I would say around the entire equator is about 21,000.
25,000 miles, just under 25. Well done. So the 49ers are going 1.5 times around the world.
Just to play a 17-game NFL season. It's there'll be NBA teams who will play 82 games this year who probably travel fewer air miles than the 49ers. It's ridiculous.
Let me ask you a question about the Green Bay Packers.
It might be the last thing we do because we've got to get out of this studio.
Okay,
it's been lovely being back.
The last time we ever but the Packers were on many people's slates of maybe playing in Paris, and now we've got the Steelers. Will it be Aaron Rodgers or not? We don't know. But do you know why that's changed, or you're not?
No, I don't. I heard that as recently as a week ago that the Packers were intended to be the team for the Saints. It's so funny working for an organisation that. We can't leak it because, we are a rights holder and we have a relationship and we don't want to upset the NFL. And also, I like the joy of finding out. It's like a draft. I don't want the draft picks tipped. I want the excitement of finding it out all at the same time. But it did leak very early this time. And I knew the matchups. I knew the full slate probably about 2 weeks ago. But at that point, it was Packers Saints. And that was nailed on. And about 7 or 8 days ago, I was told, actually, it's switching to the Steelers.
Wow.
So I don't know why. I don't know what the decision was on that. I don't know whether that came from the Packers. I don't know whether I know they want to come back and play in the UK because of their new ties with the UK and Ireland. But yeah, I don't know how that came down. My understanding was that was going to be the game.
That's but so interesting.
It is amazing. These teams, I did. So I haven't actually seen the announcement video yet. On the announcement video is my voice. I appear on it. There is me saying, the Houston Texans are coming to London, or whatever I say. It'd be weird if I did an American accent. That's not the point. So I was, unofficially, I knew the slate. I was told officially the Texans were coming about a week ago because I had to do the voiceover for it, right? I asked at that point and was told categorically by an NFL official, yes, we're getting you to voice the Texans. That's still not confirmed. Because it genuinely comes down to this late before it. Everyone's like, oh, we know it is. Sometimes it can be 90% of the way across the line and a team can change. Sometimes it can be these negotiations go all the way to the wire. Yeah. So it is it's not a surprise to me that it changed so late, but it is wild that it changed so late.
Crazy.
Anyway, that was all lovely. Now you can listen to my voice. Well, let's go to H&J first. Let's hear the wonderful Henry Hodgson.
Yeah, let's break it up.
Joining H&J. If we have to hear
Too
more
much Will Gavin.
Me talking about his Master Tesfatsion, our new word, the S show. The S show. The S show. I'm broken.
He's only been hosting it for 8 shows now.
I've only said
the
it.
S show, and it's only. I know you can't see it here.
I said my new word, the S show.
Amazing.
Oh, I just had a lovely message saying we might be able to get a Jets player on the S word, so that's nice.
Oh,
there we go.
Stuff.
Well, make sure you tune in then, guys.
Sorry, the S show. Please, 5 stars, subscribe, listen to both of the shows I'm on. That would be lovely. Too much me, I'd say. That's our daily show. These two will be appearing.
He also decided to just host today as well, which I quite like.
Yeah, just straight up.
He's so used to it this week.
I host the podcast as well. I totally forgot Ollie normally hosts the podcast. I just did it.
I'm just going to let him do it.
I waited till the end. I was like, just see how far he goes until he realises.
We both realised. The ego.
I was like, I looked at Ollie and he looked at me. I was like,
God.
Just let him go.
The ego has landed. Houston, they're in London, but we also have a problem.
We'll see you next week.
God damn it. Perfect.
That's so good. That's so good.
Let's talk NFL.
Yeah.
And we can do that with Henry Hodgson, who is the NFL UK General Manager. Hey, Henry.
Hello, Henry.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah, really good. Thanks for coming on. And the announcement of all these games all over the world, including 3 in London.
Yeah, very exciting. Just announced this afternoon the games that will be taking place, as you say, across the globe. Some first times in there. First time the NFL play in Australia and Paris, but most importantly, I guess for us, 3 really good games coming to London this October.
Yeah, I mean, although a game at the MCG will be pretty sensational, won't it?
Yeah, it will be amazing. It really will. That's a great venue, and it probably speaks to the fact that we're lucky enough to be playing in great venues all over the world. These are some of the most iconic stadiums around the world, and the MCG adding that to the list is really exciting.
One thing I've always wondered, and is it right that the NFL sort of added a game in the season so that home fans don't feel shortchanged by the fact that, you look at your fixture list and, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan or whatever, suddenly one of your games is in Paris and you're like, well, I've got a season ticket. What's happening there? But they kind of added a fixture. Is that right?
I would say maybe it's not the reason, but it's certainly an outcome from it. So the NFL currently plays 17 games a year. So, there's always a lopsided between a home and an away games. And in the years where the team has one more home game than away game, those teams are eligible. So half the league is eligible to have a home game that is then played overseas.
Hugely popular. Since it's been at Wembley and at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, you can't get a ticket for love nor money, and that's only going to grow. I'm assuming, especially since it's Aidan Durd, isn't it, who's the British coach, won the Super Bowl as a coordinator. If he can become head coach somewhere, then sky's the limit, I'd have thought.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think there are some amazing stories, and Adam's story as the Seahawks defensive coordinator this year, winning the Super Bowl is one of them. There are, now more and more British players in the league. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had a British player drafted who was part of our NFL Academy program and is now going to be on the Miami Dolphins team. So I think there's more evidence of like the pathways that you can take, not just to watch the game either on TV or in the stadium, but actually to play at the very highest levels. And I think that's part of what we're trying to do is show that the NFL is, we've been playing games here for 19 years, but there are other ways that you can get involved beyond being a fan, and hopefully that will drive more interest and more excitement about the sport.
Has Mexico City ever hosted a game before? Do you know? Because that seems like a no-brainer in many ways. I'm surprised there's no Mexico franchise in some ways.
Yeah, well, there's still currently, all 32 teams are based in the US. Mexico has hosted games before. It's been a few years because Estadio Azteca has been upgraded in preparation, obviously, for the World Cup that's coming up this year. But yeah, really excited to be back there as well. Like Mexico's in general has an awful lot of NFL fans, inevitably because of the proximity to the US and the ease of watching the games there. And their fans are going to be really excited about the game that's coming there this year as well.
I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, and they are the only team that remains terrible throughout all the draft picks. I quite like that. They just can never be good. But one day I woke up and they'd moved to Baltimore, and I didn't really quite understand why. And there's now a team back in Cleveland, which is great. Is the direction of travel that you said all the sides are, US at the moment? Could you see a time when there is a London team in the NFL, for example?
It's certainly been talked about. I think in order for that to happen, there'd need to be expansion of more teams. There's currently 32 teams in the NFL, so it would require there to be more teams. And I think when it's been talked about with the context of then adding a few more teams in Europe so that those teams can play each other. I think we're a long way off that. Quite honestly, I think at the moment the NFL is really focused on expanding the number of places we play games, hence the conversation we just had about Australia and Mexico and Paris, etc. So I think, in the event that the NFL is looking at global expansion, it's more about how do we play in more places. And you look at sort of Formula One as an example of, every week there's a race in a different country around the world. I think we're headed that way more likely than we're headed to permanent teams playing full set of fixtures
A world franchise. Yeah. I suppose it's
And is it just like the teams are just that you're told you're going to Mexico, you're going to London, or do they kind of say we'd like to play a game here?
It's probably somewhere in between. The teams have the opportunity to choose countries that they're interested in investing in. That's part of what we call the global markets program. So they can say, we think that we've got a really good opportunity to grow our fan base in the UK. So there are currently 12 teams that have selected the UK and Ireland as those. So where we can, we're trying to match teams with the countries that they're in, but it's not always as easy as that.
Good stuff. Look, thanks for coming on, Henry. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Great to chat to you guys. Thank you for having me.
Henry Hodgson there, NFL UK General Manager. So yeah, the London games, I've got them here. So yeah, Melbourne, Rio, London, Paris, Madrid, Munich, Mexico City. And
That's good for you, Max. That's everywhere you've got a flat.
Yeah, it is everywhere. Yeah, absolutely right. 4th of October at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Indianapolis Colts playing the Washington Commanders. On the 11th of October, Philadelphia Eagles take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then the Jaguars head to Wembley to play the Houston Texans on Sunday, the 18th of October.
Big hour on the S word and another big hour coming up for you, Master. I'm so excited to get Flex in the studio with Master. If you don't follow Flex on social media, he's a brilliant Man United commentator. And I introduced these two. I didn't even introduce you. You just met in the office and just went
in the green room. We just dapped each other up, and all of a sudden, yeah.
Fireworks. I'm telling you, in 20 minutes' time, I expect full-blown fireworks in this studio. We'll also be joined by Scott Minto, the former Chelsea and Benfica defender. We'll talk some Jose Mourinho with him. He was at Southampton last night as well for the game. But we've got some nice breaking news.
What do we got?
Well, this is, I told you, there's a different bit of breaking news we'll get to in this section, which is my favourite bit of World Cup related breaking news I've seen in a while.
Give it to me.
First and foremost, talkSPORT is your home in the UK for the NFL. I personally am the play-by-play guy for all of the international series games and for the Super Bowl. We broadcast games every single week. Sunday Night Football, we have deals with the Jaguars, with the Jets and with the 49ers to broadcast their games as well. And, you know, we are your home on UK radio, and I think honestly in UK media we do the most expansive coverage of the NFL, the brilliant stuff the guys do on the website and everywhere else.
Going to Super Bowls, always being a prominent and present.
Just refusing to let go, just hanging on to it for dear
It's been
life.
wonderful. You guys have had a big role in the contribution to the growth of the NFL in Europe.
That's too kind. And more importantly, that growth has led to, I would say, maybe the best international slate of all time, because we have got the announcement of the international slate for 2026. We are going to be in Melbourne for 49ers Rams week 1 of the season, which we already knew was the game. And we already knew that in week 3 in Rio, where Olly Hunter on the other side of the glass is going to be for talkSPORT, that it's going to be the Baltimore Ravens and the Dallas Cowboys. I suspect this Cowboys fan next to me.
I might be seeing you there, Ali. I might need to learn a couple of those Portuguese words.
Yeah, I think. I'll take a play-by-play by you guys.
Hey, I'd love to jump in.
I'm done. It's happening. That's basically, that was a signature on a contract, just verbally. Week 4, week 5, week 6, the 3 London games for this season.
Talk to me.
The Indianapolis Colts are the road team to face the Washington Commanders at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, if it's still a Premier League stadium at that point. They'll still play there, but good game.
Yeah.
I would say good game, not great game, but some superstars there. We didn't get to see Jaden Daniels in Madrid this year.
No, we didn't.
Washington coming back with that. They had a big draft this year. Indianapolis put up a monster performance against Atlanta in Germany this year. Jonathan Taylor with a hat-trick.
That was a fun game.
That
was a really fun game.
Friend of the show, Jonathan Taylor, of course, my buddy. We hung out on Radio Row.
I should also note, when Washington first came to London in 2016, a young whippersnapper named Master Tesfatsion made his first trip to London, covering that game. Washington versus the Cincinnati Bengals.
The first ever tie in international game history.
It was. Yes, a lot of missed field goals.
Yeah, that was a weird game.
That was a weird game. But ever since then, I've been smitten by the city. So I'm very grateful for the NFL International Slate. It's great to see Washington coming back.
There you go. Back-to-back games for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We already knew that was going to be the case. In week 5, they're going to face the Super Bowl champion from 2 years ago, Philadelphia Eagles. And we get a divisional matchup at Wembley in week 6 as the Houston Texans and that fearsome defensive line come into town to face the Jags at Wembley. Great games. Both of those, with the Jags being a competitor.
That's a massive divisional game there.
Really great games. And then on talkSPORT, we will also have for you over the coming weeks, week 7, week 9, week 10, we will be in Paris, France, as the Pittsburgh Steelers return to Europe to face the New Orleans Saints. We'll be in Madrid again at the Bernabeu, where hopefully that place will still be standing after this summer, as the Cincinnati Bengals face the Atlanta Falcons. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase in town, Bijan Robinson, so many superstars in that game. The New England Patriots, fresh off their Super Bowl loss this year, will be heading to Munich, Germany to face the Detroit Lions. And then the Mexico game will be the San Francisco 49ers facing the Minnesota Vikings. That's been a playoff game in recent years. They've been two competing teams. A great slate of games. We'll have every single one of them live on talkSPORT. Super exciting.
Tremendous slate. And it's great to see it continue to expand. Great to see it returning back to Mexico after all the construction work that was being done on Estadio Azteca for the World Cup. It's great to see it back in Mexico, where it really all started, the International Series.
Oh, that's a bit harsh on Toronto, but...
Yeah, but you got Buffalo
the Bills
there.
going 5 miles up the road doesn't really feel like quite the same as going and playing in the Azteca.
Seeing it in Mexico at first, it really opened up the eyes of what is possible for this, and seeing it in London, being at Madrid with you last year as well. Funny story. I was sitting next to a woman. Her son happens to be the kicker for the University of Virginia, watching that Madrid game, which it wasn't the greatest of games, let's be honest. But
I mean, there were 4 goal line stops on 4th down.
Yeah, it was really
great.
absurd game in overtime. It was like
silly.
hard to wrap my head around what was going on in that game. Then it goes to overtime, and this woman, she's like, "The game's still going?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, Mas Fiesta," and I'm like, "Yeah, Mas Fiesta." So anytime I see overtime now, I just think of Mas Fiesta.
Mas Fiesta. I love that. That's now the official term of talkSPORT for overtime. Mas Fiesta. More party for everybody involved. And look, we are a soccer show here on the S Word. We wanted to bring you that breaking news, and look out on the S Word YouTube channel as well, because we do cover other American sports there. The NFL UK GM Henry Hodgson will be on H&J this afternoon. You'll see him on the station as well. And we're going to do an episode across the formation with me, Ollie, and Sam after the show, right in this very studio where we react to that slate of games. But it does bring us back round to that conversation once more of the 39th game of should the Premier League look to international expansion? Should there be a push with the growth of soccer in America as it is, with the 60 million fans there, with the Club World Cup, with the World Cup coming up? Should they look at this as an opportunity and say, there's money to be made there? Let's stop the preseason friendlies in the heat, and let's play a real competitive game of soccer abroad.
Soccer.
Yeah, I deserve that. I mean, you get for how badly you press the button, but
I would love to see a meaningful soccer match from one of the top 5 European leagues played in America. We tried last year with La Liga, and unfortunately it was nixed after the announcement. And Serie A also tried in Australia, and that was nixed as well. The pushback that has happened from Europe of moving one of these games to America or somewhere abroad is not well received here as it is in terms of Americans moving NFL or NBA games or MLB games to Europe or abroad. I would love to see it as a continued effort to push the growth of the sport, especially after the World Cup in the United States. And the facilities, the capabilities, it's all available there. The question I have is, would it be another game in the same way the NFL has added an additional game and potentially adding 2 games when it expands to 18 games? Would people want to do that in the Premier League to create that extra generated revenue so it's not a loss to home game?
Considering there's more talk about reducing the size of the Premier League when you consider that it's considered an advantage for Liga 1, for Bundesliga, that they have smaller divisions, less games in a season, that helps them in Europe, that helps them in international slates. Like, that feels more the direction the Premier League wants to go rather than actually expanding. I think with TV money nowadays, it should be more games, Mas Fiesta. That should be the absolute approach, because the fact is, you look at what the NFL are doing with their slate this year, right? Thanksgiving now has the 3 games on Thanksgiving. There's going to be a Wednesday game and a Friday game around Thanksgiving this year. The kickoff game this year is on a Wednesday, and then they're in Melbourne on Thursday, and then there are Saturday games, week 15, 16, 17, and 18, and all the way through the playoffs. They're like, more games, more days, more solo games, more TV revenue. Let's sell it to YouTube. Let's sell it. Like, they are like trying to find revenue from everywhere. And for me, it's almost why the Premier League feel like they don't need to do this. And for people who don't realise, the NFL makes far more money off TV revenue than the Premier League does.
100%.
We see the Premier League as the biggest league in the world, and financially it is a juggernaut, and viewership-wise, it is an absolute juggernaut. But the 3-year Premier League TV deal is the equivalent of a 1-year NFL TV deal. Like, they know how to make money, the NFL. And they looked at the American market and they went, how much true growth is there at this point? How do we keep our fan base expanding? How do we keep making more and more money? And they went and they looked into the international market. I believe that the Premier League, just whether that's because of ego or whether that's because they are right, that's a debate. But I think they're looking at it going, we're already expanding there. We're already making lots of money there. We're already selling our TV rights internationally. Why would we annoy the fan bases? Why would we annoy the teams? Why would we take regular season games there? I think they think they're above it. I'm not sure I agree with them, but I believe that's where they think they are right now.
But that's the biggest area of growth is still the United States. When over half the clubs in the Premier League right now are owned by American owners, when the biggest opportunity for growth is the United States media market rights, which should be coming up here in the next couple of years, why would you not want to take advantage of that by bringing significant games
but we saw,
to the United States?
Massive backlash against the Super League idea, right?
We did.
A huge amount of that backlash was aimed at American owners because there was this idea that American owners don't like relegation. They want closed leagues like you have in the major sports in NFL, MLB, NBA, etc. They want to know that they've got a guaranteed amount of revenue. They don't. The
Premier League is essentially a Super League now because of American owners. You're bringing all the top players in the world want to play for the Premier League, and they're making the highest wages, the highest salaries. Why is that? It's because of the injection of American owners. Yes, there has been club states that have been involved, taking over Newcastle and taking over Manchester City, but for the most part, the majority of these clubs are owned by American owners, and the cash and liquidity they're injecting into the Premier League is the reason why it's in this golden era period it's in right now. The financial means are because of American owners. So yeah, you can complain about the Super League and all that you want to, but these are the same people also on Twitter and social media saying that they should sign X player for 100 million quid. Where do you think that money's coming from?
I think for me, part of it is you said something to me earlier today when I was complaining to you about that I think grits are one of the worst food in the world.
Get out of
and you said not all grits are made the same.
They're not. Not all grits are equal.
Not all American owners are equal either.
True.
FSG may sit there and go, well, we're a money-making exercise. We see this, we are investment bankers. We see this as a way of generating revenue. We care about that. We want to go and grow there. That's certainly the way they've approached things with the Red Sox. It's the way they seem to approach things with Liverpool. Other owners have tried really hard to ingratiate themselves into the culture, to try and act like they're almost not American owners, like they are going to. I think there would be such a huge backlash against this. I think a lot of owners would push back against it because they see it as like, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Don't ruin the relationships you've already got for the sake of what could be seen as a quick buck.
I get that part, but the complaint is that you want the fans to be able to enjoy these experiences and make sure that you don't take home games away from them. Tonight, there's a massive Manchester City Crystal Palace match happening at the Etihad. If you look at tickets right now at the Etihad, right now, there's maybe 4 or 5 sections that are actually sold out.
Mm-hmm.
The majority, you can find a seat pretty much practically anywhere you want to right now at the Etihad. And this is not an isolated incident in these kind of circumstances. When you're talking about a team that is competing for the Premier League title, when you're talking about the possibility that this could be the second to last home game for Pep Guardiola to cap off an incredible era that he's had at Manchester City, and that place is not sold out, how can you not think about the opportunity cost of what that one game could be? And I'm not saying it has to be a game in the run-in, but that taking away that one game and maximizing the opportunity of expanding that elsewhere, like you can't have it both sides. You can't say that you want to take away you're thinking about the sanctity of the fans. And again, I know a lot of these fans, I go to these communities, and I'm very mindful of what these clubs and what these games and what these matches, these moments mean for them. But if you're talking about places in which people aren't showing up and they're not selling out the stadiums, how could you not, as the Premier League, consider the other alternatives that exist if you did move this to Miami or New York, knowing that you could make a lot more revenue for this? And in turn, the club could then use that money to help with their financial issues that we're seeing all across the FA system.
Tell me this, though, and you've heard this, and I get frustrated with the NFL UK fan base, that slate comes out today, and I think that's 2 great games. Admittedly, people maybe don't want to see the Jags constantly, but fact is they're probably going to be here 3 times next year because of their new stadium. People will complain about it. Their team aren't playing, same team's playing again. Like, I think there is a level of complacency that I don't think is fair, considering that there are literally fan bases giving up home games to come abroad to try and grow the sport. But the fact is, that's because it's not a global sport. It is an American sport. It's literally called American football.
It is.
Baseball, you could argue, is a little more global. You've got a huge league in Japan, you've got all of Central America, but it's America's pastime. They want to try and grow into Europe. It's not a huge sport here, so that's how they do it. The NBA, again, big European league, but still not to the same level. It's not the same as bringing over live NBA games and having them here. I think that it's already enough of a global sport. I think MLS is already a big enough deal. I think the Premier League is already a big enough deal in America that they will look at it and go, you talk about opportunity costs. I think they think there's enough in the preseason friendlies. I think there's enough in the Club World Cups. I think there's enough in those opportunities. And maybe, you know, I've always said the game to take abroad is the Community Shield, because that game is a trophy in as much as, you know, an Arsenal fan sat opposite me can tell me it's an actual trophy.
I'll acknowledge it.
So it's meaningful, but it's also basically a preseason friendly. It's both things at the same time. You're not giving up a home game. It's in a neutral venue already. You're not giving up season tickets. Wembley's already been paid off as well, which is a big part of this, because the FA, it's why they brought semi-finals there. It's why they sell so many concerts, because they didn't pay off Wembley for almost 20 years it took them to do it, but it is now paid off. Those loans are done. So you can maybe afford to give it up. And maybe they get a bit of a revenue share. Maybe there's a kickback. You know, that feels to me like the kind of thing you do. The idea of taking a regular season, regular home game, even if you're not selling out of your Man City. And are the Americans going to turn up if they are given Burnley, Crystal Palace? With all respect to those two fan bases, are the Americans turning up?
Turn up
are they
for a
selling out?
preseason
Are they
game.
selling out MetLife Stadium? Are they selling out Hard Rock Stadium? Are they selling out these 70,000, 80,000 seater enormo domes to go and watch Scott Parker's Burnley take on Oliver Glasner's Crystal Palace?
In a stadium that typically would be in 10,000, 15,000, at most 20,000 seat stadium, I could have 40,000 people could show up for that. You'd have to have some sort of hook. I understand. But
I think with the first time they have to take a big game, right? I think the first time you do it, Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, a big brand surely has to be the ones. Even if they're a road team, away team, depending on which side of the pond we're talking from, surely there has to be one of those teams involved. Otherwise, you're kind of killing yourself before you even start. And that's what La Liga tried to do, right?
yes, they did with Barcelona and Villarreal, but the problem with there was how was the financial distribution going? I mean, obviously the fans were upset, and you saw the players protesting, and then it was nixed right afterwards. But the other parts of this too was, how do you break up the financial aspect of that? They were going to fly out Villarreal fans because that was a home game for them to the United States so they can experience and watch that game. I'm sure you'd have to do something similar for season ticket holders in the Premier League so they can experience that match and experience that moment. But from all the revenue that's generated from ticket sales, from everything that comes with it, the TV rights, where does that money get distributed? Who gets the allocation of that money? Because now we're talking about...
We're getting into World Cup territory. We're getting
the
into
financial fair play and how that impacts what you do in the summer. And you know, you look at clubs like you talked about, teams that are battling relegation, that extra 10 million, 15 million is massive in terms of improving your roster.
To talk out both sides of my mouth when I say this.
Because you teased it by saying they should bring it here. They should bring it to the United States.
The Jacksonville Jaguars come and play a game here every year. They're going to play multiple games over the next 2 years while their stadium's redeveloped, the stadium of the future, as it is coming. That is what they've called it. That's not just what I'm saying. They released, there was conversation about why the Packers hadn't been brought over when there was still only 8-game slates, and why has nobody given up a game against the Packers? Why have they not given up a home game, etc., etc. We've had 31 of 32 teams here, and many of them multiple times, and there's been this constant pushback about not having the Packers. The Jacksonville Jaguars released from when they started doing the international series, they released 10 years of information about the revenue of their biggest selling game of the season, the biggest revenue, the most ticket money, everything else. 9 out of 10 of them were Wembley. The only one that wasn't Wembley was when they got Green Bay and Jacksonville, because they know they can sell those tickets for 4 times what they normally sell them because it's such a big deal and Green Bay travels so well. But 9 out of 10 years, it eclipsed anything that they made while they were at home.
And you're not even talking about the merchandise. I'm always shocked about how much...
You're going to have to talk I don't want to keep picking on Burnley. You're going to have to talk a Wolves. You're going to have to talk a relegation-threatened team, or maybe a Bournemouth, a Brighton, a Brentford. Teams who are
Michael B. Jordan, part of
the
minority investment owners of Bournemouth. That could be a great fit. There's a lot of these American owners that would kill for that opportunity to do so. The thing that I find very funny is how I see more Jaguars gear in London than I do pretty much anywhere else outside of Jacksonville. And
maybe even in Jacksonville.
Yeah, probably. But credit to them. They saw the marketplace. They beat first to market, and now you have a ton of Jaguars fans here that spend a lot of money and follow the club. So that is the opportunity that exists for whatever that Premier League team is. And maybe that is the difference between you becoming a consistent relegation battled side that's bouncing back and forth from the championship in the Premier League to being a mid-table or potentially someone that can compete for a European spot.
And listen, there's part of this, back to talking out both sides of my mouth, there's part of this that I do think football fans are too myopic about this stuff. I obviously think that way because I love the NFL and it comes over here and I commentate on it and everything else. Trust me, if you decided you wanted to, make your family holiday that year to go and watch your team play abroad, if you knew the revenue that was coming in, if as a season ticket holder you got some kind of deal on it and everything else, you're going to have the time of your life. It's going to be the best occasion of going to watch your team. It's going to be sensational.
Go to Miami. Go to New York. Have a ball. Have a blast. Spend the whole weekend. Bring the fam.
Go to the
Hopefully you get
Hard
3
Rock
points.
Stadium, enjoy Miami instead of another cold November afternoon at the G-Tech. That's what I'm saying. Like, I do totally get that. I just don't see football ever doing it. As much as I can think they should, I just don't think they
I
ever
try
will.
to argue it for about 20 minutes now, and I'm right there with you. I don't know if it ever happens, but
We are just defeated men.
I would love for it to happen, but I'm also being mindful. The more time I spend around Arsenal season ticket holders and season ticket holders of different clubs all over Europe, I understand their ire of potentially missing out on these core memories that they've shared for generations that could be potentially, for even one time, being taken away from them.
Beautiful stuff. Look, maybe we just wasted 20 minutes of everyone's time.
We did,
But it
but
was entertaining.
at least the NFL's coming to Europe.
Yeah.
Mas Fiesta.
Mass Fiesta. We will be there at every game with talkSPORT. You'll get great coverage across the S Word YouTube channel and of all of the other action going on. Still to come this hour. We'll be talking a bit of Manchester United. Got the great flex coming in the studio, and coming up shortly, Scott Minto will be joining us. He was at Southampton last night. He has his ties with Portugal as well from his time at Benfica. Lots of Jose Mourinho chat to get into. That'll be a lot of fun. All coming up for you on the S Word.
The daily deep dive into the world of football. The S Word from talkSPORT.